Hello, this is Dr. Johansson, and I am going to go through your syllabus for this summer semester. I know this can be kind of dry and not exciting video, but it's super important. Remember that the syllabus is the contract between us, so you're responsible for everything in the syllabus, so please take time to read through it. I am going to hit some highlights to make sure you've got the gist of how things are working in this class. So, first of all, most important, here is my UC Denver email. This is how you get in contact with me. You can email me questions about the class. You can email me a request to set up a Zoom meeting, anything like that. This is how you contact me. So right now I have office hours by appointment. We will be talking, I'll be taking a poll once class gets going to see if there's some common hours that you would like me to just open up Zoom for questions and answers and study. So those will be coming. You have a required textbook. It's Becker's World of the Cell, 9th edition. You can buy the 8th edition. You can probably buy international editions. If you have an edition that seems not to match with the, for instance, figure numbers, I suggest that you look at or have handy for a quiz. You can always send me an email and we will figure out how to correlate our two versions of the text. You're going to find that I'm going to tell you, I highly suggest that you watch the lecture videos, fill out the chapter objectives, and then go back and use the book to kind of enhance. Some students don't like listening to lecture videos, and so you can find all the information in the textbook. But I will say that the lecture videos don't cover everything in the outcomes, so the textbook is really important to have. I don't use any of the Mastering Cell Biology or any of the other online resources, so you can definitely buy a used textbook and you don't need any kind of access codes. Another point I want to make is I send out communications through announcements. So hopefully you've received an announcement from this class and you know it's open early. If you haven't, or you don't receive announcements through email, I highly suggest you do, because I will be giving up-to-date, hey, don't forget this, hey, here's a change. All the communication is through announcements. So if you go to your account and notifications, on your notification preferences, I want you to have announcements with a green check mark, which means you will be getting announcements as soon as I post them to your UCD email account. Really super important. All right, one more thing about email. I have 2 sections of cell biology this summer, so I really need to know if you're in the EO1 or the EO2 section. So if you're sending me an email, please put either that you're in Biology 3611 or Cell Biology, so I know that this is a student asking a question. Some days I get lots and lots of emails and I want to prioritize my students. And then let me know if you're in section EO1 or EO2. So for instance, you look up here at the top of your Canvas shell, and this is, if you see this, you're in EO1, and if you see EO2, well, you're in EO2. Okay, guess that's kind of obvious. So read about email etiquette. You always want to communicate professionally, and that goes both ways. Sometimes my emails are short because I have a lot of emails that I'm answering, but I'll always try to be polite and professional, answering your questions or answering your emails, and I ask you to do the same. actually, one more email thing. If you're sending an attachment, say you have an image you want me to look at, make sure you email me from your UC Denver email to my UC Denver email. If you do it through Canvas, where you can email, a lot of times the attachments don't come through, and so then I'm going to have to say, your attachment didn't come through. Even if you feel like you know you attached it, I don't know what goes on with Canvas, but it's a consistent problem. Okay, this class, you are going to find learning objectives for every chapter. And some of this will be repetitive, but I just want, as I go through on the syllabus, to show you where this is. So each week you have the syllabus. Each week has its own module. And you'll see, for instance, Chapter 1, Appendix and Learning Objectives. Chapter 2 through 4, Learning Objectives. So you're going to click on these, and this is going to give you the list of everything you need to know for this chapter. And then in the below, it links to the lecture videos that go with this chapter. Okay. This is your study guide for the quizzes and for the exams. Okay. So that means you have quizzes and exams as part of your grade. So in fact, you have 14 chapter quizzes. You're going to have 2 quizzes every week. Remember that in the summer, you're taking a 16-week class and condensing it to 8 weeks. I really feel that chapter quizzes are important to help keep you motivated to keep up on the learning and to help you test where you're at with the understanding before you take the unit exam. So each unit exam is worth 12% of your grade. That's a good chunk. So I'm trying to get you prepared for that by doing the chapter quizzes. The chapter quizzes are each only worth 2% of your grade. So again, it's a way to practice, test yourself, keep yourself motivated. Now the chapter quizzes are really focused on the learning objectives and these details that I want you to get from the chapters. You're going to find that homework, and you have 4 this semester, homework is asking you to pull together concepts from the chapter. So homework is applying the information. The homework is quite hefty. We'll talk in a minute. You can work in small groups. You can work on the homework as you go through each chapter, right? So remember, this is self-paced to a degree. So even though when we look at the schedule, there might be lots of things to do at one time, you can get, for instance, homework done early. Okay. Unit exams is a combination. So it's going to look at kind of the facts or the content from the learning objectives, and it's going to have a few questions based on the homework that ask you to apply concepts. This is the chunk of your class, right? 96% right here. Okay. You have a really easy 6% to do right away at the beginning of this class, and you can actually work on them now. You have a practice quiz. The practice quiz is located in this first module, week 1 module, right here. Practice quiz covers information on the syllabus. So you're going to click on this, and actually hold on. Let me put this in student mode so it looks the same for you. All right, so your module, come down to the practice quiz. All the quizzes have these little rockets or airplanes or something. I don't know why. And the quiz is always going to tell you, and you can always click on this and look once the quiz is open. Instructions, okay? So always read this. This tells you about the quiz. Now, most of the instructions are going to be much shorter because you will have had practice, okay? Tells you how many questions, how many points, and your time limit. And when you're ready, you click Take the Quiz, and that starts your, in this case, 15-minute time limit. Now, all of the content quizzes have a 35-minute time limit. If you wanted to just find a quiz, you can click over here and you can see all the quizzes listed. And so maybe you want to look at the first real quiz, and it says it's locked until June 8th. So on June 8th, it will open up. You will see the instructions, but it already tells you there's a 35-minute time limit, 14 questions, 18 points. You also have, okay, so the practice quiz, sorry, I lost my train of thought. The practice quiz is based on the syllabus. It's to give you a chance to practice taking an online quiz. Okay. Take your time, get 100%. That's an easy 2% of your grade you just earned. The practice assignment is also discussed here in week 1, and it tells you that the practice assignment is located in week 2, but you can do it right now. And what I'm asking you to do, as I scroll down to week 2, practice submitting an assignment, it tells you you're going to make a Word document or a PDF. You're going to type your name. You're going to paste in an image of a eukaryotic cell that you have drawn. Okay, talks about what you need to include and add some text around it. Then you're going to copy and paste this red paragraph. Yes, I'm telling you to plagiarize, and you're going to submit your assignment completed up here. The purpose of this practice assignment is this is exactly what you're going to be doing when you submit homework. So I want everyone to make sure they're able to submit the right type of document, paste an image, and I want you to see what Turnitin, our plagiarism checker, looks for. Okay? If you have issues with this assignment, as soon as they're turned in, I will daily go through and grade it and give you feedback. This is due June 15th. If you get it done early and there's an issue with your assignment, you can resubmit. Okay? You can resubmit all the way up to this time in order to get that full 2% of your grade. So I suggest do it early and do it correct. The last super easy part of your grade, also due June 15th, is introduce yourself, and that is located in the discussions. Okay. So I have 2 discussions here, but introduce yourself is the one we'll talk about first. It gives you the instructions, so you need to do exactly this to get your 2%. I have put in a little bit about me, so you can read a little bit about me if you'd like. This is a great way to tell the class about you, tell me, the instructor, about you. Lets us get to know each other, and it's a great way to meet other people, maybe with your same career goal. Because the other discussion you may be posting in is, I would like a homework partner. Okay, so we'll talk about this in just a minute. So your grading is spelled out. You get to drop the 2 lowest quizzes. Canvas already does that. You get to drop 1 of the homework assignments. I know summer is busy, so I'm being pretty generous here. And like I said, there's 102% built in, so there's already 2% extra credit available. There is no additional formal extra credit. Don't ask for personal extra credit. That's not ethical. And get that 6% done early. Okay, so everything's weighted. So please read about grading. Also understand that because I'm giving you extra credit, I do not round up grades. So if you get an 89.9, unfortunately that is a B+, because likely 6% of that grade was pretty easy stuff. Okay. Summer course, I said before, 8 weeks. 16 weeks worth of information in 8 weeks. Okay. A lot of students tell me they dedicate close to 20 hours a week in a summer class. Make sure you have this time. If you've got a full-time job, you've got family requirements, you've got big vacations, a lot of us aren't vacationing this summer, but something like that planned, this might not be the time. Cell biology is offered online every semester at UCD. Also, if you happen to be lucky and going on vacation, you still have to meet the course deadlines or use missed quizzes or homeworks as drops. So I have a lot of students. I'm not adjusting dates for vacations or things like that. All right, so this tells the breakdown of the percents. All due dates are at 11:59 Mountain Standard Time. Make sure your clock is in sync with Canvas. Don't wait to the last minute. If the Canvas or the quiz, closes and you haven't submitted something, you're out of luck, or the homework time closes. All due dates are posted on the cell biology lecture schedule. Let's see, I probably should have downloaded that. So this important stuff is where you're finding the syllabus, the lecture schedule, all that good stuff. And so I suggest you print this out, but I know you guys, a lot of people aren't as paper oriented as I am. So it's electronically here. You have due dates, homework due dates. You have what is on, what chapters are for each quiz. And then you also have the units, right? So unit 1, listed right here, is chapter 1 appendix and chapter 2-4. So when you see the unit 1 exam down here on 621, you know that it covers these two things in this unit, right? Unit 2 has all the 2's by it, so there's what's on unit 2 exam. Right. These are your due dates, but as it says in the syllabus, quizzes are open, so you always have a Wednesday due date and a Sunday due date. So for the Wednesday due date, you can take the quiz on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of that week. For the Sunday due date, you can take that quiz Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Okay, so you're always going to have these two due dates for your quizzes, and you have quizzes due just about 2 every week, unless there's an exam due. I've already talked about the practice quiz. Some important stuff I want you to read and reread is understanding some of the questions. So there's multiple choice questions, pretty standard. There's check all that apply questions. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And there's short answer questions on all the quizzes. Check all that apply. I will always tell you there are 3 answers, there are 2 answers, there are 4 correct answers. And you need to check the ones that you believe are correct. The way Canvas scores these is that it takes the total points. So for instance, if there were 3 correct answers and the question is worth 1 point, each correct answer is worth 1/3 of a point. But if you have an incorrect answer, it's going to subtract 1/3 of a point, right? So if you choose 2 correct answers and 1 wrong answer, you're going to get credit for the 2 correct answers, 0.3, 0.3, and you're going to get a negative for the incorrect. And so you really only get credit for 1 correct answer. So a wrong kind of cancels out a correct. Okay, this is to discourage guessing. If you don't see something that says choose all, there are 3 correct answers, and you happen to see the squares on the multiple choice part instead of circles, just ignore it. It's probably an error on my part. I will always tell you which questions are check all that apply. Super, 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 super important. Answers to the weekly quizzes are only available until the next quiz is due. So for instance, the quiz that closes on Wednesday, starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll be able to see those answers. Okay? I suggest you look and figure out what you missed and why you missed it. You need to do this while this information is fresh. After the next quiz is due on that Sunday, those answers are going to disappear. You can definitely take notes, right? There's no need to wait until it's exam time and look back at your quizzes. This is not a good study habit. What you want to do is, after you take a quiz, you want to evaluate how you did, what you missed, and go back and review that information. Okay, that is the best way to learn, and that is why I make the quiz answers only due for a short time. All right, if you miss a quiz for any reason, it will count towards your dropped quizzes. Okay, you get 2 dropped, no exceptions. So if you get sick, if you're out of town, if you forgot, that's why we have dropped quizzes. Okay, this is up to you to, like I said, I would print this out and keep track of all of these due dates. The due dates are also located on the side. Okay, so if you go to the home page where you're here, and this will have actually links to these videos, you can see what's coming up, what's due. Okay. Once you've completed them, this will go away, I believe. You can also always go to your calendar, and let's go over to June, so that's when the class is, and it tells you all of your due dates on a calendar. Okay, so whichever way looks good to you, use that to keep up with your due dates. Don't miss something. The other thing I wanted to say is about short answer questions. Oops. All your quizzes, or almost all your quizzes, will have short answer questions. Oh no, that's not where I want to go. And they will give you instructions. They'll say, like, compare and contrast these things. I need 2 similarities, 2 differences. I will tell you my favorite types of short answer are compare and contrast. I highly, highly suggest you go into this first important stuff module and you read short answer questions. And this gives you suggestions on how to write correct compare and contrast answers. Okay, we will be grading, and if you don't write them in complete sentences, and if you don't write them correctly in a true compare and contrast, if that's what it's called for, even if you have the right words in there, you're not going to get full credit. So please, please, please read everything in this important stuff module. There's also hints for success in online cell. These are hints from students who have taken this course before. Okay, homework, lots to read here. The key is you have 4 homeworks due. They are going to take time. They are meant to help you understand and put together concepts. So give yourself time. You can work individually, you can work with a partner, or you can work in a group of up to 3 students. I highly, highly suggest you actually work as a group. Maybe you're putting together a Google Docs. You can go to People on the side here, and you click on Groups. Okay, and there's all these homework groups that I have made. If you want to work with someone, you talk to them and you both put your name in the same homework group. Okay. And there is, in the important stuff modules, how to make homework groups. So you don't generate your own homework group, okay? You fill your name into one of the homework groups that I made. If you don't do this correctly, you're not going to get a grade for your homework, and that will be a bummer, okay? Like I said, in the discussions, you can introduce yourself and read through who's in class and ask them, hey, you can email each other. You want to have a homework group, or you can post in, I would like a homework partner. Please, 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 please read through this information. Working in groups can be beneficial. It can be challenging. Right? So you really want to work together as a group, because questions from the homework are going to be on, or concepts from the homework are going to be on your unit exams. And so if you do the divide and conquer, and each person, say, takes 3 questions, answers them, you guys compile a Word document and submit it, and you haven't tried to understand all of those questions, you're not going to do well on the unit exams. I really suggest you do this collaboratively. You all try to come up with your answers, sketch them out to the homework, and then you work together to craft really nice, complete answers. Everyone in the group is going to get the same grade. So I don't want to hear, well, I did question 2, 4, and 6, and I got 100%, and my partner did 1, 3, and 5, and that really killed our grade. Well, you should have checked the homework before you all submitted it, okay? One person in the homework group submits. More on how to create a group. If you want to work alone, you don't have to do anything. Just do your homework and submit it. Here's some suggestions. And here's something really important, okay? We have a program called Turnitin. You are using this plagiarism detector on your first practice assignment so you can see what it looks like when Turnitin detects plagiarism, because I'm asking you to plagiarize, okay? First of all, do not include the questions from the homework with your submission, okay? Just put number 1 and write out your nice answer. Or else you're going to get a high plagiarism. I'm going to have to go look through Turnitin, and you're going to lose 10% of your grade, okay? Instructions are super important in this class. Follow them. This explains how you can see your Turnitin score, okay? Everything in this class must be in your own words. Do not use quotes. There is nothing that you need to explain for a homework question that you can't explain in your own words. Okay? If you do use outside sources, outside the textbook or lecture videos, which there's only a couple places that I tell you to go look something up, make sure you cite your outside sources correctly, and that's in the important stuff module. Okay. If you get a gray flag on your Turnitin, it means it can't read your homework. Sometimes this is due to having lots of images, and what I want you to do is leave that submission, make a separate copy of your homework and take out all the images and just submit that so that Turnitin can check for plagiarism in your written work. So if you're having issues with this, send me an email. Turn in homework, I suggest early. If someone from your group is, for some reason, copying answers and Turnitin highlights a bunch of it, fix it before it is due and resubmit it. I will always look at your last submission to grade, and if you have any issues or you're submitting one both with and without figures, you can leave comments in the submission to help me understand what to grade. I highly suggest you look at the document you turn in after you've uploaded it. Okay. Sometimes students have uploaded the wrong document. I've gotten business documents, and I think I had a French essay one time. That's not going to get you any points for cell biology, okay? Make sure your images are clear and they're not cut off. Best way to do this is to make your homework in either Google Docs or Word and then save it as a PDF. You cannot scan things and turn them in. That will not be able to be read by Turnitin, and you will get this gray flag, or you will get a 0. If Turnitin can't read your homework, you will have a 0. That is the purpose of the practice assignment. Finally, if you want help with homework, that's what I forgot to do here. There's going to be another discussion post that says help with homework or homework help. I'll have to remember how I write it. Post questions here. I get notifications. I will help answer them. If you have a question about, say, something from homework 1, take a look here and see if I've already answered it. It might be a common question. I do this so that my answers can help everybody in the class. Don't be shy about asking a question. Likely, a lot of other people have that same question. Okay, we're almost there. Unit exams, cover the chapters in that unit. I told you how to find that on the lecture schedule. Unit exams will be available Wednesday through Sunday. They're always due on a Sunday. Okay. Again, as you take a look at the calendar, you're going to notice that sometimes you have a couple different things due. Like the 21st, you have a quiz and an exam. Let's look at July. Okay, 22nd, you have 2 quizzes. Right? So plan accordingly. Remember, these quizzes are open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you could work on Chapter 22 first and take that quiz Monday, and then work on Chapter 23 and take that quiz Wednesday. Okay. Quizzes and exams are taken individually. Right? So you have a timer. The time is designated. What am I trying to say? The quizzes and exams are timed to force you to study this material. So yes, you can go look something up, you can look at your notes, you can look at your book. I don't care, but you're not going to have time to look up all the answers. So I highly suggest you study for these quizzes and exams just like you would if you were going to an in-person class. Okay? We're not setting up Proctorio, we're not doing anything like that. I have found that by giving the time limit, it's enough to force people to show their actual knowledge and not how fast they can look things up. So that talks about time limit. We've already talked about this. Introduce yourself. No extra credit. Technology. Requirements. We've talked about learning objectives. You're responsible for everything posted on Canvas. When you read the hints to success in Sell Online, most students say, watch the online videos, right? They're there on the page with the objectives. Watch those. Hint, you can speed up the speed. If you look at settings, these are all connected to YouTube. You can speed me up to easily 1.5 speed and still hear me fine and still be able to pause. And it goes a little faster. I learned that from my daughter doing remote. I said, wow, your teacher talks really fast. She goes, oh no, I speed it up so that the lectures go by faster. So I do tend to talk a lot, but you can pause lectures, you can go get yourself some more coffee, you can go get a snack, you can speed it up, right? A little bit easier than having to sit in a classroom. We've talked about Canvas is set up in weekly modules. Please read the other parts. If you have any issues with this class, please talk to me ASAP so we can resolve any issues. If you have any religious observances this summer, I need to know ASAP, and we will work out a way for you to complete whatever assignments or exams or quizzes are due before your holiday. If you are a disability student or a student with disabilities, or have accommodations through the Disability Resource and Services, I need to know ASAP. I can easily increase times on quizzes and exams. You really don't have time for extended time on homework. So we can work on this one-on-one. I need your communication. If you need to use your accommodations for turning in something later than the due date, but because you know all of the due dates, I expect you to plan accordingly, factoring in any extra time you normally need for a class. If you work with a homework group, I cannot extend deadlines. There's regrade policy, posting of grades. I come back to academic integrity because almost every semester I have students that cheat, plagiarize on their homework. Super frustrating. I don't know why they do it, but I have a 2-strike rule that means the first time you're caught plagiarizing, and it can even just be a sentence. It doesn't matter to me. I have 0 tolerance for plagiarism. First time, I call it your first strike. You get a 0 on that assignment. The second time you do that, you get an F in the class and you are turned into CLA ethics. Okay? Absolutely no reason to copy anything. Put it in your own words. That's how you learn. If someone plagiarizes on a homework assignment, everybody in that homework group gets their first strike. If it's a second strike for someone, they are going to fail. So make sure when you work with a homework group that you're checking each other's work and everybody agrees to the academic integrity that all the answers are written in your own words. No quotes are allowed. Again, there's nothing that I'm asking you to explain that you can't explain in your own words. You are not allowed to use things like Chegg or other online help sources. Okay? So the questions I write, for the most part, I've made up, and they're my intellectual property, and you're not allowed to post them on the internet and ask for help. Okay? Work together. If I discover that you've used an online source, this will be a strike. I put some examples here of students that got charged with plagiarism and how they're trying to paraphrase answers. And granted, you're not going into these kind of in-depth writing, but I just want you to show you that paraphrasing does not mean adding a couple extra words here and there. Okay? Paraphrasing is putting it into your own words, your own thoughts, your own ideas. So if you're looking up some kind of answer, even in the textbook, close that. Don't have those words out there when you go to explain it yourself, because it's tempting to say, oh, well, they explained it really well. Let me just copy that, change a couple words. You'll be charged with plagiarism. All right, so again, everything must be in your own words. I really harp on this, and every semester I have students cheating, and actually last spring I failed a student due to 2 strikes of plagiarism. All right, the rest of this is pretty common: incomplete grade policy, grievance policy, my policy on letter of recommendations, blah, blah, blah. So we've gone through most of the syllabus. I recommend you read through the entire syllabus, maybe make some marks or highlights of your own. If you have any questions, send me an email, and I will happily explain anything. Other than that, I hope you've watched all these videos and looked through what you need to do, and you're ready to go. All right, thanks.